Good day, viewers from all around the globe. Here today, we are bringing you a news and analytical program that is shaping our electoral process in Nigeria as we head into 2027. And today, we are looking at the words or the statement or proclamation from one of the Nigerian most active activists, Aisha Yesufu, who has claimed that INEC'S action against ADC is making ADC more popular as a political party among Nigerians. And in her own words, she also said that 2024 election will be war. In trying to digest and take an analytical journey towards her claim and her words to find out how Nigerians from all walks of life will accept this, either to puncture her opinion or those that will affirm that she's on the right track. Nigeria stands at a critical crossroads, and the air is thickening with tension. The 2027 general elections are no longer a distant event. As we know, 2027, we are all here shouting that in Nigeria that 2026 was the year that suffered most in the mouth of Nigerian politicians, and 2027 was the year that had been mentioned million times in Nigeria, even when we are in 2024 and 2025, you can agree with me. But 2026 is what we call the electioneering eve, the year that begins 2027. So the cloud is thickening, the air is tensed, and the political atmosphere is charged. It is no longer far away from us. There are looming unavoidable and fraught with a lot of controversy. That is the election, the political parties jostling for different positions and the political actors. At the center of this storm is the African Democratic Congress, a party that has suddenly become a symbol of resistance, a rallying point, and a thought force for the Nigerian citizens as it concerns about the direction that the nation will take from 2027 going forward. This is not speculative, but it is a reality. This reality witnessed in Abuja, Nigeria, where the party's leaders, that's the ADC party leaders, including former Senate President David Mark, former Vice President of Nigeria Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023 general elections, Mr. Peter Obi, former governors, Rauf Obweni Arebeshola, Musa Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano State, the former national leader of NNPP, the former presidential candidate of NNPP. You have the likes of Rotimi Chibikamechi, Aminu Tambowal, and all party stalwarts. I also saw in that gathering the former DSS boss. His name eludes me now, but he was in that gathering. He is also a member of the ADC. Have raised the alarm accusing the Independent National Electoral Commission of bias, manipulation, playing in the hands of the ruling party and the government in power to undermine the foundations of democracy itself. Nigerians, if this accusation or allegation is true or false, but based on the facts before us, your guess is as good as mine. Why is INEC acting this way? The question that has echoed through the length and political breadth of Nigeria. Why does an institution designed to safeguard elections appear to be tending toward the ruling party? Is a $1 million question. These are not ideal questions. These are questions that strike at the heart of the Nigerian democracy. The ADC leadership has accused the Independent Electoral Commission, National Electoral Commission, of de-recognizing its duly constituted national NWC officials, including Senator David Mark, former governor of Ogun State, and the former commissioner in Lagos State during the reign of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor of Lagos State, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. Despite a clear legal records, processes, court communications, and the procedural compliance, INEC has gone ahead to de-recognize them. That means ADC on INEC official website have no recognizable leadership authority in that area or in that regard. The commission claims to be enforcing a court order that instructed them to, that's the ADC, to maintain the status quo ante bellum. But the party, in a swift reaction, insisted that the interpretation is deliberately skewed to destabilize opposition efforts. The legal language may seem technical, but its implications is far-reaching, are products of the ruling political party. That is what ADC is alleging. Those ones are speculations, and in the words of the Nigerian media space, we say it's alleged. The legal language may seem technical, but its implications are profound when institutions tasked with neutrality are perceived as partisan. And again, the threat from INEC makes democracy to come under threat. Consider the stakes. What are the stakes in Nigerian political space? The ruling All Progressive Congress has dominated governance since its rise to power in 2015, holding more than 90% of the Nigerian National Assembly as constituted today, and the over 30 governors are in the fold of APC. Yet, this dominance, the fear of fair competition is evident. The question will be, why is APC jittery, and who is afraid of the rise in popularity among Nigerians of the ADC? Maybe the government that is weaponizing hunger, poverty, hike in fuel prices, is suddenly realizing that it has over time be shooting herself on the foot. What else would the party orchestrate administrative interventions that targets opposition leaders? Why else will INEC and proverbial umpire which is an independent body, be drawn into the fray in a way that raises suspicion across civil society. And the questions multiply if the system is so confident in its popularity and mandate. That is, if the position of APC, as they pride themselves, are being grassrooted, being the government that is making an inroad, changing the lives of Nigerians, if they have such popularity and such confidence, why do they need, and why is the need for primitive measures to weaken rivalries and the opposition, while manipulate the interpretation of court orders to create confusion where none seems to exist? David Mark, speaking for the ADC, was clear that in July 29th, 2025, the National Executive Committee meeting of the party was lawful, communicated properly, and recorded by INEC itself. Yet, following internal disputes initiated months after resignation by former officials of the ADC, the likes of Rafiu Bala, INEC acted to recognize a leadership that was, by all accounts and legitimacy, not duly recognized. The party sees this as an invitation, a manipulation, and overreach designed to erase opposition from the electoral map. And who wouldn't say that? Because having seen what Labour Party suffered, what PDP is going through, who will not say that there is a hand of a monkey in what ADC is going through currently? And here is the disgusting and disturbing part of it. The consequences are immediate. Planned congresses and conventions in multiple states are now at the brink of being jeopardized, potentially impacting local electoral preparations and participation. Citizens, activists, and voters are left asking if the system can disregard internal party legitimacy and legality. What guarantees exist for fair, credible, and acceptable elections at the national level? I hope it wouldn't be a case of political opposition glitch as we saw in the 2023 general elections. Activists like Aisha Yesufu have not held back in assessing the gravity of the situation at hand. She warns that 2027 general elections will not be a normal contest. She was of the opinion that 2027 general elections will be a war. A war not only for offices or political offices to be occupied, but a war that will be fought for the soul of Nigeria. And why a war? Because the structures of democracy, the very institutions that are meant to protect choice, fairness, participation, are being challenged in a way that alarms observers. Analysts and ordinary citizens alike are asking questions. Is INEC an umpire or an honest of APC? The question is hanging in the balance. INEC'S action, according to Yesufu, have had the unintended effect on making ADC more popular drawing attention, sympathy, and support from the Nigerian public, increasingly wary of the concentrated power and the suppression of distinct voices. And we see this play out during the 2023 general elections, where Labour Party, although in Nigeria our voting pattern has been either on the religious line, ethnicity, sentiment, or bias, or sympathy, a lot of people also, a lot of opposition political actors bank on what they call the sympathy vote and sympathy support. Maybe Aisha Yesufu is also saying what is the obvious according to the Nigerian voting pattern from the Nigerian populace, the citizens, the downtrodden over years. Ask yourself, what does this say about the state of democracy when the body tasked with impartial oversight is accused of partisanship? What does it mean for a nation when legal orders are twisted in interpretation to achieve political outcomes and gain? What does it tell citizens about the respect of the rule of law when courts' directives are used selectively, manipulated, and more often than not ignored totally to the advantage of the party in power? The implications are not abstract. They are very, very real, tangible, and very disturbing. Every Nigerian is affected because every election cycle, every decision, every vote, rallies and realizes the trust on the institutions that must be neutral. Going by this, the story is now more than just institutional failure or partisan maneuvering. It is about the resilience of citizens and opposition political parties in a political environment dominated by a single party system. So to say that's the way they see it, and I don't know the way you see it as a Nigerian. The ADC, from being weakened by INEC intervention, has become a rallying symbol, a third force, so to say, like we saw in the 2023 general elections. Its message is on lawful engagement, transparency, and the civic empowerment, and this resonates louder today than ever before. Citizens who might have felt disconnected or powerless now see ADC as a fight for accountability, a fight for fairness, and a fight for their own voices to be heard. This is why Yesufu declaration that 2027 general elections will be a war is so loud, resonant, and it is not only a metaphor, it is a battle for participation, for rights, and for democracy itself. History adds another layer of urgency. Nigeria has faced moments where institutions were co-opted, while the framework of the ruling party and the parties in power used judicial means under the judicial disguise to marginalize and to suppress the opposition political parties. And each time the consequences were profound. The outcomes has been public trust eroded, political questions raised without answers, governance destabilized. As we repeatedly seen in history, or are we choosing to confront it or shy away from confronting the obvious? Let us shine the light on actions that would otherwise remain obscure to demand accountability before the stakes become very irreversible. The public dimension is equally critical. Across states, from Abuja to Lagos, from Kano to Rivers, citizens are watching, questioning, and reacting on social media as they amplifies their distinct questions and shows their dissatisfaction on what is happening within the political arena. Activists, youth groups, civil society organizations, and concerned Nigerian citizens are no longer to remain passive observers, but they are encouraged to be active participants in this nation's crucial conversation. They are asking the same question that was asked years ago during the 1983 and the 1992 or 1993 general elections: is democracy being preserved or dismantled? Are institutions serving the people or serving those in power? And what are the consequences if citizens remain silent? Your guess is as good as mine. Every move by INEC, every interpretation of the law, every administrative decision now carries weight. It is no longer about INEC. It is not about internal party affairs and disputes alone. It is about the legitimacy of the entire electoral process. If legal orders can be interpreted to favor one side, if opposition voices are being sidelined, if institutions can be perceived as extension of the ruling party and its influence, then what guarantees exist that the next general election will reflect the will and collective voice of the Nigerian people rather than the interest of those in power? These are not hypothetical questions, but they are questions that define and will indeed define the future of Nigerian democracy. Viewers and Nigerians, do not stay aloof is the message, because any action, policies, and inactions of the government I see in Nigeria today will directly or indirectly affect you and I one way or the other. We have let the cat out of the bag. It is for you to look at the cat, name it a name, and say what color is of the cat. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day. From this end is a bye for now.